pass those assignments. Okay, what they need to do is to practice by the use of what previous questions, but now I want to insist something before we can get into some of the questions that I need to do this night. And then tomorrow I will be giving you more questions that is a form of a multiple choice, so that you can see how you can select the question, how you can understand the question using the multiple choice, and also the calculations. All right, let's just begin with our lesson of the day. All right, guys, I want to insist something from what we have learned in our previous lesson, which was all about accounting equation and also a double entry principle. So I want to insist something. So allow me to insist those things, guys, so that we can understand more and apply our knowledge that we have in our assignment number 1. All right, I'm trying to get a document here. Okay, this is a document. I think everyone is see a Word document that is written as a double entry principle or double entry rule. If you can't see anything that is on a screen, you can raise your hand so that I will reload. Okay, I can see. Meanwhile, you can't see what is written on the screen. Okay, you can impose. Right, okay. Let me just reshare the screen because I can see that almost all of us will not see what is on the screen. Okay, let's try now. Right, I'm sharing it. It's coming. All right, and then now you can comment. You see. All right, is it right now, guys?
Thank you, sir. We can see.
All right, thank you so much. All right, guys, let's just continue. All right, what I've taught you is all about an element of financial statements. That thing we're gonna do it up until we do our assignment, our first assignment, which is assignment number 1, because all questions will be based on those elements of financial statements, which is assets, owners equity, liabilities. Remember, owners equity are including expenses and also what incomes as well as capital. Ne? So for us is to understand and is to know how to explain assets. If we're talking about assets, I've told you that assets are different or are divided into 2 categories. We've got non-current asset and as well as what a current assets. And then for the non-current assets are those assets that can be converted into cash beyond 1 year. But the one as current asset, it is for 1 year, which is 12 months. So as well as liabilities, as well as what owner's equity. But I want to show you something here. What you need to understand, the main thing that you need to understand, you need to understand how to analyze these elements of financial statements in our accounting equation. Let me write this name, accounting what equation. All right, what we need to do, guys, we need to link, or we need to see the effect of our elements of financial statements in our accounting equation. Remember, this is a mathematical equation, which is assets equals to owner's equity plus liabilities. Yes, it is a fact that this equation is apply mathematical. It is a mathematical what equation, whereby we are taking assets equals to owner's equity plus liabilities. So our studies, it's showing us that we need to see types of assets, types of owner's equity, as well as types of liabilities, how they influence our accounting equation. But before we can see the influence of those elements of financial statements, we need to understand the thing that is called a double entry rules. A double entry rules. And then I've told you that whenever we are studying about double entry rule, it must be a T form. When we are writing something according to a double entry rule, we are saying all accounts are drawn in a T form with a left-hand side called a debit side and a right-hand side called a credit side. All right, let me make an example. We have an account which is bank. I want to repeat this, guys, because your first assignment will be based on these things. You need to understand, you need to grasp more information from these lessons of learning unit number 1, number 2, and also number 3. After we've done everything, and then I will be allowing you to ask any question that about everything that you don't know, you don't understand. All right. I've told you tomorrow we're gonna do more questions from multiple choice, different years, different assignments. Okay. Okay. Now we've got a bank of how much? Of 10,000. I'm making an example. Remember, I've said to you, anytime when you are recording any account, you need to draw that account in a T form. And then this account must have 2 sides, which is a debit side on a left-hand side, as well as a credit side on a right-hand side. And then now we need to draw our bank account. Let's quickly go and draw our bank account. Here is our bank account. All right. This is our bank account, guys. Okay, thank you so much. I've tried to draw it right. Okay, this is our bank account. All right, I want to teach you something before we can continue with other things. Okay, this is our bank account. It must be a T form, because we're applying a double entry principle. Okay, this is my bank account. I'm writing it bank account. Right, then on our left-hand side, we've got a debit side. On the right-hand side, we've got a credit side. All accounts are drawn in a T form with a left-hand side, which is called a debit side, and a right-hand side, which is called a credit side. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, therefore, we conclude by saying all accounts that you needed to open or that must be opened, you must bear in mind that those particular accounts must be in a T form, and then they must include 2 sides. On a debit side or on a left-hand side must be a debit side, as well as on a right-hand side must be a credit side. That clear? All right. And then the double entry principle, it says, number 2, it says, this principle stipulates that every debit on a left entry, there should be a corresponding credit on a right entry for the same amount. Therefore, if you recorded something on a debit side, you need to record something on a credit side as well. All right. And then this means that you should record each transaction in at least 2 accounts. Therefore, each transaction that we have given, you must have 2 accounts. You need to identify 2 types of accounts. And then on your first account, if you recorded your money on a debit side, obviously on your second account, you need to record that particular money on a credit side. That is a double entry principle. It is applied and correctly applied. And then now after we have done that, we can talk about an accounting equation, the effect, right? Let's go further. Let me take one transaction because I've told you that I want to remind you something before we can do some trick questions from this. Yeah. Okay. Now, we have the transaction. It says that the owner, let me write it, guys, so that we will all see what I'm talking about. The owner of the business, yes, of the business. Right, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, the owner of the business done what? Withdraw. How much money? 2,000 rand for personal use. Personal use. Yes, a transaction. This is a transaction. Okay, we welcome everyone who just joined us now, guys. Let's mute our mics so that we can understand each other, whatever we are doing now. Okay, this is a transaction now, guys. Let's apply a double entry principle. All right, I've said to you last time, before you can record any transaction that you've got, you need to identify or you need to apply 4 types of questions that are needed. First question, you need to identify 2 types of accounts that must be affected. That is the first question. Second question, what those accounts are they? Are they assets, owner's equity, or liabilities? Therefore, you need to identify according to what an accounting equation. Then now you see the effect in your accounting equation. You see the effect in your accounting equation according to the accounts. Then you see whether it's enter on a debit side or on a credit side. Okay, now this is our question. Each question, this means that each question should record each transaction in at least, okay, this means that you should record each transaction in at least 2 accounts. All right, this is a transaction. We need to identify 2 types of accounts. The owner of the business will draw 2,000 rand for personal use. Let me add for personal use. All right. What types of accounts are they included in this transaction? The one that we need to identify before we can carry on doing or recording this transaction. Firstly, we need to see a verb of the transaction. Firstly, the money have been withdrawn by the owner, you see? And then the word withdrawn, there is something that is coming out from the business, from the bank of the business. That is, there is an outflow of money. So the money is decreasing in our accounts as a business, going somewhere with the owner. And then the thing that is saying personally use, therefore this amount of money the owner was withdrawing with the purpose of doing something for his or her personal use. Right. And then now we need to identify 2 types of accounts now. Obviously, we have a bank because cash is affected. I've also told you last time that when you see cash, there is bank included. Right. The money is going out from the bank. So the first account must be a bank. The secondly account, remember, I said to you, everything that is taken from the owner, it's either an asset or it's either cash, that particular things will be regarded as a drawings. So the secondly account must be a drawings. There are 2 types of accounts that are affected in this transaction, bank and also what? A drawings. Because this amount of money have taken by the owner for his or her personal use. All right. And then now we can see a bank is a type of assets, is a type of liability, or is a type of owner's equity. The fact is that bank is a type of what? Assets. All right. I'm writing to do something so that we can move on. Okay. And then drawings is a type of what? Owner's equity. Yes, it's type of what? Owner's equity. Right. Then now we can draw our accounts. The first account must be a bank account. Let's draw a bank account. Actually, we have a bank account here. Let's just use this bank account. When the money is going out from the bank, there is an increase or there is a decrease. Therefore, we need to specify on that. When there is an outflow of money from our business or from our bank account, bank of the business, there will be an outflow of money, and then it will cause a bank to decrease. On which side? Remember, I've said to you, assets are increasing on the debit side, but decreasing on what? On a credit side. So bank must be decreased on which side? On a debit, on a credit side. Therefore, it will be a drawings. How much is amount of money? Is 2,000 rand. You see? Why we write it on a credit side? Because there is an outflow of money. The money have been taken by the owner. This amount of money will be called drawings because if it have been taken for his or her personal use. Maybe he or she was want to buy a grocery on his home. So that's why we conclude by saying this money is regarded as a drawings. Right. We also draw the account of what? Of drawings. Here is an account of drawings. Yeah. Successful drawn. Okay. These are the drawings. Right. And then from our right hand side, we've got what? A credit side. From our left hand side, we've got what? A debit side. Okay. And then now we record our accounts. Remember, double entry principle, it stipulates that if you recorded something from a credit side, you need to record something on a debit side. Therefore, there must be a corresponding recordings of a same amount of money in our one transaction that we have. Therefore, since we have recorded something on a credit side, automatically here it must be on a debit side. Let us go back and see where drawings are increasing. So drawings are the expenses in our business. Therefore, drawings will be automatically increased on a debit side. Remember, drawings are the enemies of our owner's equity, because whenever I talk about drawings, our owner's equity will decrease because the money is taken from the business, and then it will decrease the interest of the owner. So therefore, everything that is decreasing owner's equity must be recorded on a debit side. Now we apply the double entry principle. It's a bank. From a bank account, how much is money? It's 2,000. Do you see now? We have recorded something on a credit side in our first account, and also we recorded something on our debit side to our secondary account, which is a drawing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me take questions. before we can continue. I know you have questions, guys. I know you can't understand easily the thing of increasing and decreasing. Assets are increasing on the debit side, but decreasing on the credit side, and also as well what owner's equity and liabilities. But let me take any question and then we'll proceed. We'll proceed by doing something. All right. It seems as there is no question currently. There is no question so far. Remember, tomorrow I need us to do something. I will prepare questions for you, a multiple choice, column A with column B, and then we all gonna participate. So that's why I need you to install information from this lesson so that tomorrow it will be easy for you to participate when we are doing our quiz. Just to prepare for yourself for your first assignment. Yeah? All right. This is a work that we have done now. I think people understand how double entry principle applied. How we can apply our double entry what principle. Okay. Let's now go further by doing something as well. Okay, this is our questions. Remember these questions. This is our questions that we need to ask. All right. All right, there is a question from our text, depending on the asset on a secret that will be written in a double. All right, yes, double entry principle, actually, we see all elements of financial statements. How many of them? They are 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we have an additional, which is income. That is fall under what? Owner's equity. Income minus expenses, we say, equals to a profit or loss. But whenever we talk about incomes and expenses, we are touching what? Owner's equity. Attaching what? Owner's equity. All right. Yes, when you need to apply a double entry principle, any question that is including what? These types of elements of financial statements, it will affect our owners. I mean, it will affect our accounting equation automatically. It must be from the double entry principle, because we need to record according to the double entry principle. Double entry principle, it means that your debit side must be corresponding in records with what a credit side. So it's whether assets, owner's equity, what transaction is like this and this and this, but it must be recorded according to a double entry rules or principles. Let us take another example. Let's take another example from different. All right. Sorry. Now let's take another example now. Right, here is an example. Buy a car or a vehicle. In accounting term, we call it a vehicle for how much? For 4,000. I mean, for 40,000 years. For 40,000. Yes, the owner of the business bought a car or buy a car. Something that's happening now. Buy a car of how much money? Of 40,000. This is a transaction, and then we need to record. We need to see the effect of accounting equation. We need to apply a double entry principle. Right. First thing we need to do, here are the questions that we need to ask ourselves before we can record any transaction. Therefore, let's use these questions. The first question says that which two accounts are we dealing with? Therefore, in this transaction must be two accounts that must be affected automatically. Therefore, let's just see those two accounts, guys. All right. A first account, this amount of money or this vehicle have been bought on cash. There is no credit, but have been bought on cash. Therefore, when you see cash, bank must be affected. Our first account will be a bank account. Secondly, account will be what? What is our second account? I want to show you something. It might happen in your transaction. Maybe in your transaction, it might happen that it must be affected only one element of account financial statement, only assets. It can affect owner's equity. Each transaction can affect owner's equity and assets only, but not liabilities. And it can only affect only assets. All right, let's go back into our transaction now. Our second equation, I saw someone was writing as a drawing must be affected, of which drawings are not affected here because there is nothing that the owner have been taken for personal use, but he or she decided to buy a vehicle which is costing how much money? 40,000. Automatically, this vehicle will be used inside of the business, maybe to transport a trading stock toward customers. Yes, the one that must be affected, it could be a vehicle. Yes, and then the vehicle is a type of what? Of asset. Also, a bank is a type of what? Of assets. Sure. Then now we have done of identifying two types of account that must be affected. We know now that in this transaction, two accounts must be affected. Bank, which is assets, vehicle, which is asset as well. Number two, it says, okay, we have done about number two. Number three, how does this transaction affect the owners, or I mean the accounting equation? How does it affect accounting equation? How does it affect what? The accounting equation. If we say like that, we need to draw our accounts. Now let's draw our accounts now. All right, the first account, it must be a bank account. Here is a bank account. All right, bank account, right? Yeah, this is a bank account. So on your right hand side, gonna be a credit side. On your left hand side, what? A debit side. Always, it is a T account now, and we must draw another account which is what? A vehicle account. Remember, these two accounts belongs to assets. Both are called assets, are affecting assets, because are both, for the fact that are both assets, therefore they will increasing on the debit side. Both they will decreasing on what? A credit side, but increasing on the debit side. Then now this is a vehicle account. Vehicle account. Then from the vehicle account, we know that on a debit side, I mean on your left hand side, gonna be a debit side. Debit side here. Yes, gonna what? A credit side. All right. This is an account, guys. I'm very sorry about errors, but I want to show you how to draw account. This is a T account, then two accounts that must be affected with successful draw now. Okay, and now we can record the transaction. The fact is that this amount of money or this vehicle have been bought. Obviously, the amount of money is going out from the business. Therefore, there is an outflow of money. So bank will be affected, will increase or decrease. Bank will decrease. Ne? Bank must be recorded on what? On a credit side. How much is money? It's 40,000. Whenever the money is going out from the business bank account, the bank account will decrease. The more you draw your money from your bank account, your money will decrease. You have 10,000 and then you withdrawn 5,000, you're left with 5,000 because you are taking money. So this business or this owner of the business have decided to buy this vehicle of 40,000. Automatically, the amount of money from the bank of the business, it will decrease on the credit side. All right. And then now, vehicles, for the fact that we bought these vehicles. So the more there is an addition in our vehicles, is the more vehicles will increase. So we have two vehicles. For example, we have two vehicles in our business, and then we have decided to buy another one. Then it will be only three vehicles that we will be having in our business. Therefore, there is an increase in our vehicles. All right. Now, this vehicle have been bought, therefore it will increase on which side? On a debit side. Yes, on a debit side. How much is money? It's 40,000. Then we are done.
Today I'm sleeping.
This is how you can record transactions.
And my mom just said there's an ice pack.
I know your first assignment, guys, it will be more about a theory.
Wait, no.
You need to be able to define all these elements of financial accounting. You need to define them, and also you need to know how many they are divided, such as assets, as I told you, that is divided into two categories. Then you need to know their types. That's why tomorrow I've prepared for you a special questions that will be dealing with all those things from learning unit number 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna take a lot of time by doing those questions. I explain each and every type of assets, type of owner's equity, type of liabilities, so that you can know. And then you will see from those questions how they ask you questions. It will be similar with the questions that you will get into your first assignment. All right, guys, let me get any question, because we are left with a few time now before our lesson have to be closed. Yes, I think, okay, let me get any question. All right, so far we are all mastered this thing of, all right, I can see iPhone is raised up the hand. Okay, you can take your platform. We respect you, iPhone, Mr. iPhone. I don't know whether it's miss or what. Thank you so much. Take it.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, with regards to the debit and credit side,
Sure.
are we supposed to show on the assignment that the debit is the plus sign and on the credit it's the minus?
No, you need to know that it must be on your mind. They
Oh,
will not show.
okay.
They will ask you, maybe, for example, the question it will be saying, on which side assets are increasing? No, you need to know on a debit side, they're increasing on a debit side.
Yes.
Increasing on a debit side. You need to know that they will
Thank
ask you such questions. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Okay, anyone else who have a question? All right, guys, this lesson has been recorded, and then tomorrow we will be doing questions, more questions about everything what we have done. Tell your friends to come in numbers and join this class of tomorrow, because I will be explaining everything from learning number 1 and also till learning unit number 3, because we have no time now. You need to know how they ask questions. You need to know how to attack questions. Right. Anyway, thank you so much. Let me take another. Okay. Yes. I will automatically send the link for this lesson, guys, to download, where you can download this lesson. I will send the link on WhatsApp group, via WhatsApp group. So let's meet tomorrow, guys, same time. But tomorrow we're gonna extend time. I need us to take 1 hour doing all these things that I wanted us to do. For now, sleep well. I want to start with those who are doing FAC1503, so that gonna be a balance. I know our time is over now,